This is something I didn't think would ever happen. I wasn't even concerned about how tough it was going to be. I was over the moon excited. I was ready to go. And I couldn't believe that we were really going to build a golf course. I used to hit golf balls just off that pad in the front where that big rock is. Instead of going to the range, I just hit in the front yard with my daughter Cruz right behind me in her jumper. Oh, there it was. It's 250 to the end of the field. I guess I wasn't looking for distance. I was more looking for getting repetition, so. In kindergarten, I told my mom I wanted to change my name, and she said, well, you do have options. You can be called Will, Bill, Billy, and all these things. And I'd go, okay, I think I want to be Blade. I was definitely a quirky kid, a little different. There wasn't much going on in Homer, Nebraska. It was an easy lifestyle. My father worked pretty much 24/7. He was farming 12,000, 13,000 acres. We didn't see him very often, other than at dinner time and sometimes in the morning during the summer. My mom, she raised us all. She's an amazing woman. I got into my fair share of trouble, but most of the time I just tried to please her as much as I possibly could.
Here we are. This is a great one. As a child, Will was probably one of the easiest ones to have around because he was easygoing and he was always happy, always pleasant, willing to do anything, or especially if it was sports related.
I have a Cleveland golf shirt on.
I have like 4 or 5 boxes of photos of Will. This is just one.
That's Ponca.
My father has golfed my whole life, and I knew how much Will and he enjoyed going together.
The first time I ever hit balls, my grandpa took me to a soccer field, and all we did was hit, about 100 yards back and forth. Went and shagged him and then hit back, and then I asked him, well, this is all you do? And he was like, oh no, there's golf courses and we can play golf where you're hitting the ball into a hole. And I said, oh, okay. I spent a lot of time with him from age 10 to age 15 when he passed away. It meant a lot to me in a lot of ways. My relationship with him blossomed just because of golf. It was memories that I will always live with and always remember. He was a great guy and he taught me a lot. And I try to mimic myself after him. He was a laid-back person, humble, just all-around good human. Playing competitively, it can get frustrating at times. I remember playing in the state am and having a tough time finding my game that week. Before the 3rd round, I told my mom I'm gonna go out, enjoy myself like I was playing with my grandpa, not caring about score, more caring about the walk, just enjoying the round. That day I came out shooting 67. It was a course record at the time. It just all fell together. I mean, it was magical, and I remember calling my mom and breaking down crying and just telling her that's what I wanted golf to feel like again. Homer sports, it was pretty much football, basketball, and baseball. Golf was never thought about. After baseball practice, we'd go play golf. We needed golf balls. We had the idea to dress all in black and go steal these range balls at night. It's pitch dark. You'd just be running, and then all of a sudden you look over and someone just drops straight down because they'd go over into a bunker, and sometimes we got chased by dogs. Got pulled over by a cop. These were crappy golf balls, let's be honest. We would come right back to the house and we would just get the lights and point them out into the field, and then we just hit in the dark and just into the wee hours of the night.
That was definitely me.
Yeah, I shanked it, so. That's a walk-off. The golf team got put together within 2 months before our first practice. Schools like Pender and Ponca have teams which are, within 20 miles of us. We thought it's something Homer should have. We had no idea what we were getting into. We weren't making the 2-footers. We were just like, yeah, we'll make it, whatever. So that first meet, we all got in and we all looked at each other and we're like, what'd you shoot? And everybody was like, well, 107, 104. And we're like, we've been shooting 80s and 90s. And Coach Thompson comes over and he goes, well, shit, if you guys would all made those 2-footers, you all would have shot in the 80s and 90s. We figured it out and we moved from 90s and 100s down to 80s and 90s within 3 to 4 meets. So we figured it out.
I would say that Coach Thompson was the instigator and maybe I was the enabler. He just said we'd like to have a golf team in Homer. It's been voted down by the school board because they didn't have anything in the budget for it. And so we kind of had to go about getting the money together to provide everything for that first team. Then I always go to my buddy Bryce Andersen, and usually between the three of us we can get things going.
Will was interested in golf, and I certainly wanted to see that happen. And I'm glad that Roger Thompson was around because he's a great coach. He's kind of an icon of Homer, I guess you might say. He had been their basketball coach for decades, and he had an interest in golf.
His dad and my good friend Rick Lawrenson said, hey, we got a lot of kids who want to play during the season. My son and I, we used to live outside of town, and I saw this truck behind me coming, a cloud of dust, and he pulled up, and it was his dad. And he got out and he said, say, I understand they're not paying you the same as coaching basketball. I said, yeah, well, it's a first-year program. He reached in his pocket and he said, I've been carrying this for a while. And I said, no, Bryce, no, And he put a wad of money in my hand. I figured it was a couple 20s. They were all $100 bills. It meant a lot for an old-time coach who wasn't making very much money then. That's what started the golf program, was the support we had from his dad and Rick, and good leadership, and then the rest of the kids put in the time to become better.
The first golf team in Homer high school history, and of course Will was a part of that, and of course Coach Thompson in the front. Will is right there. He looks pretty tall in that picture. Must have been a short team then, because you look pretty tall.
If you could describe Homer in just a word, what would that be?
Well, the old expression was back in the day, it was a little bit lively. I think that still pertains to Homer. It hasn't changed a whole lot in a good way. I mean, it's remained a small community. We still have a few businesses in town that are active and going pretty good.
This is the Homer Corn and Sausage Feed. They've been doing it for many years. I can't remember how long. The sign out town says a little bit lively, right? I would do anything for this community and this school and the citizens that live here. It's home now.
Well, this is Main Street. You got your Legion Hall, and then like Bob's Bar right here, that was the local hangout for pretty much everybody. We had 2 bars at that time in Homer, the Bonanza, which is on the highway, and Bob's. Local eatery was the Knights Inn, right over there where it said Coca-Cola. This is the Homer Hawk baseball field. Post office, fire hall right across the street. The Omaha Creek goes right in front of it, so you got to cross a bridge just to get into Homer from the highway. And then it leads right into the initial bluffs, which is the same bluffs that Landmand is on, about 3 miles north of here. And that essentially is Homer. Once you get out of that, it's farmland.
Growing up in Homer was pretty great, to be honest. There's a lot worse places to live. Had all the space, country life, farm kids, and playing sports, but we also had a little proximity to Sioux City, so we had a good combo of everything, and grew up around just great people. Got into golf around 97, 96, right when Tiger got going. We played growing up at Green Valley, Covington, Southridge, Floyd, and it's kind of funny to watch the trajectory. We talk about it at times, like grow up on those small little park courses and what Landmand is and has become, you know, it's great to watch. All of my memories of Will in golf and in life probably combine into what he built up there, which is a pretty good personification of him. He's always been somebody who makes it fun for everybody around him. First impression though, I don't know. Had a good golf swing.
Tyler, do you want to go first?
Sure. We gonna get faded or draw it?
I bet you that thing plugged. Shag bag. Whatever. How did that come out so good? You did that pin placement like 4 times? Yeah.
What do you mean the big one?
You can go to the big one, but you gotta remember the Toyota bunker is just to the left there. Hey, birdie. Ooh, nice ball. That one was pretty good.
All right. That's pretty close.
That was a freshman. Old Dane was built in 2000 by Terry Johnson. It was an 18-hole golf course that was put on a 100-acre plot of land. My father and a couple other guys in town bought it 2006, not knowing what they were going to do with it. They thought this would be a good spot for them to play golf all the time, something for the community. My dad was farming 12,000, 13,000 acres. It was kind of difficult to open a golf course and put employees in it and run it because he had no idea what to do. So they let it sit vacant until about 2010 when I didn't really feel like I wanted to be in the golf industry, especially at a private club. So I moved back from Chicago and I finally said to my dad, I was like, if we're gonna do something with this, we should start redoing it, turn it into 9 holes, and we could run it. It took us about 2 years to get it open, redoing greens, taking out old fairways, getting the grass to grow again. But all in all, Old Dane has really turned into a good community golf course, and it's gonna keep that way. I remember coming up here to pick apples right beside the white barn at the entrance. I thought it was an amazing piece of ground. I'd been on it my whole life. It was probably high school is when I thought there could be a golf course out here. Now granted, I've never built a golf course at that time and I never knew what it took to build a golf course.
Oh, cool.
A good friend of mine, we were playing some golf in 2019. He goes, man, have you heard of King Collins? I go, no, I don't know. Here, I'll look him up. And they just started emailing as we were on the fairway, and he's like, what are you doing? And I go, well, this is all you have to do. I got an email back from Rob, and it said, hey, could I call you later today? And I go, holy crap. We chit-chatted for about 30 minutes, and he said, you don't mind if Tad and I come out? And I said, yeah, sure. And 2 weeks later, early May, there they were.
Will made a great impression right off the bat. There was something in his voice I could tell. It was a real deal. I said, Tad, we need to get out there and see this place. So we went and looked at the old Dane and then looked at this property they have down by the Missouri River, and Will kept saying, they've got this other place up there, and we said, take us up top, let's go see that.
We got up there and no one's really talking. Rob's just looking around. Tad just goes, holy crap, you own all this? And I go, yeah, it's about 580, 600 acres. And he's just like, yeah, this is where we're gonna do the golf course.
When we got out to where the first tee is, Tad and I, jaws were on the ground. We said, this is it. This is our chance. We just knew it. I mean, kind of hair stood on the back of your neck a little bit. I mean, it was just an unbelievable opportunity. We knew we had to deliver, and if we did, it would change our lives. Next thing you know, we're building it. We knew we had a starting point and a finishing point. That made things a lot easier. We had the rangefinder, and I shot the second hill way in the distance, and it was 570 yards away, and I said, all right, that's number one. It's par 5 right there. Walked down the hill, saw this plateau, measured it out, and thought that's probably mid-300s par 4. Let's make this number 2. Then we looked to our left, and I mean, that's pretty obvious. So that was 3. Coming down 6, I said, we got to find a place for a great short par 4 before we get out of this 9. And ideally, it'd be nice to get a short par 3 too. We kept seeing this big area in the distance where we wanted to build the Sitwell green, kind of connected everything up to there. And then by that point, we were at 18 tees. And we added it all up, and we had 16 holes.
By the end of the day, they go, well, I think we're almost done. And I said, you gotta be kidding me. 2 days later, we had a group driving the routing.
I mean, we were just going so fast, and it was just all falling into place, and the sequencing was good, and the pacing of the holes was good, and we were hitting the high points. Everything was just right. I mean, we just knew it. We knew we had nailed it. It felt magical. It felt like we had just hit this magical little crease in the universe, and something opened up for just a brief period of time and let us in. And I'll stand by this routing to the day I die. I think it's the perfect routing for this site. I don't think there's a better 18 holes out here. To get out here in this big wide open country with these big skies and these long summer nights, I mean, I fell in love with Nebraska. It feels like home to me now. We needed to have a dramatic hole that was fitting for all the drama that came before it and tied in thematically. Tad and I noticed this perfect little plateau back in here, went down hard, and there was this natural little rise that came out right there, and it was like the perfect place for a kind of a blind carry bunker with that back tee perched out against it. We put the bunker in there that we call the Toyota bunker because Pat Fischer drove his truck into it during construction. Having a gambling risk-reward vibe finisher with, you know, do or die on the approach. And that kind of visual drama, that when you come up over that rise and you really get a full glimpse of the bunker, it's pretty awesome. One of the big challenges for us was coming to grips with the way the human mind perceives this land. You just realize how this land just dwarfs you. It makes you feel tiny. And you don't realize how big it is until you're out in it, and then it's like a tidal wave coming over the top of you. If we had built smaller features or built smaller fairways, the golf course would have felt overly intimidating. You would have felt defeated before you even drew the club back. And so we had to build these really big features, big fairways, because they do shrink in the landscape when you're back on the tee. That helps the course feel playable. You feel like you can hit that fairway, you know, even if it's a 20, 30, 35 mile an hour wind. It doesn't feel impossible.
There was a lot of challenging things with this golf course, which we could talk for hours and hours. But we stood on the tee box and we looked at 17 green when it was fully grassed, and that was a aha moment, like we've done something.
With a project of this scale and this size, we were all kind of jumping off a cliff to some extent. And so, you know, of course there were moments where, you know, things were perhaps a little stressful. When you go through ups and downs and when you come out on the other side, that brings you closer and closer together. Will's like another brother, and I think that's what Landmand's done for us.
Right when we did sign the papers, my dad said, well, what are we gonna call it? And I said, I don't know, what do you think? He goes, well, I call it like Broke Farm because we're gonna be broke. I mean, we probably had 20, 30 names that were on the list, and we looked at old Dane and said, well, shoot, why don't we just go to our Danish heritage and come up with something maybe in Danish? So we started looking everything up in Danish. We looked up wind in Danish, dirt in Danish, you know, blah, blah, blah. And then one day I looked up farmer and yeah, popped up Landmand, and then I brought that to my dad and my mom that day and in the office, and they were like, oh, that sounds pretty good. That sticks. And my dad, he's like, I like that name. We'll just stick with that. It is like a painting, like a Salvador Dali, where everything is melting over the top of these hilltops.
Will's entire family gets things done in a way that it doesn't surprise me. His mom's father taught him golf, and his dad's father taught him how to move dirt, and these things combined into Landmand. It's a great representation of our area and their family. And to know what it was before and what they made it become is amazing. It generates a feeling like it is growing up here, to be honest with you. Farm country, the hills, people are chill, and you go up there and you have fun, and that's what he wants.
We've come a long ways, and we've gotten a lot farther than we could be because of the Andersens. They just know how to get things done. I mean, they're a huge resource. We have an 18-hole golf course, but it's technically a 36-hole acreage. The putting surface is twice of a normal 18-hole facility. It's just expansive. You can see forever. You just have to see it. You have to be here, you have to look at it. You can fly drones, you can do whatever you want. It doesn't do justice.
Told Rob, who was the designer, that he built something I could never have envisioned. You can see all the way to South Dakota, actually, and it was just like, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening.
One of the rare treats of this project is coming to know all these great people and getting to be friends with them. You come back here and you always know it's going to feel home. It's like a warm blanket. And that goes for everybody around here. I credit Will's staff with doing just an amazing job in the way they run it, and the way they treat people who come through the door and people who are coming from all over the country, in some respects all over the world, is just fantastic. Their work helps take the golf course to a whole new level because people have such a great experience, and they deserve really high marks for that.
Did we ever set out to create something as amazing as it turned out? No. We were just going to build a golf course, and we hoped that it would be somewhat different than the other golf courses around here. Turned out to be a lot different, and Will had a lot to do with it. And then King and Collins. Those people were just extraordinary to work with. They just really gave it quite an effort.
It's almost indescribable. And I think it's beautiful and peaceful up there. It's just almost a magical feeling for me when I get to go up there. And I wish I golfed so that I could really enjoy it, but I am so proud of him and all the hard work he's put in to get us here, and also what he still is doing every single day.
There was a family friend, and he's like, hey, I want to say congratulations finishing that golf course up there. I've been up there a couple times, but man, we didn't think you'd even get done with that thing, just to let you know. It's pretty amazing you did it. And he walked away, and I was like, what the hell? How many people thought that? Holy crap. So if he thought it, I can only imagine people that didn't know me, they probably were thinking, he is never gonna get this done. There are trying days, but I do have excitement every single day that I get to come up here and enjoy myself up here and watch people smile and watch people enjoy, hitting balls around here, because, yeah, this is a dream.